Is that about me? Is that why you're playing that song?
If the shoe fits, Joe, okay, you gotta wear it.
Rod, you should go on Putting on the Hits. Remember that show back in the day where they would lip sync? It was a whole show about lip syncing.
I was telling him he would be a great DJ.
Yeah, or a drag
sure,
queen, right?
sure.
They got the lip syncing down.
Listen, okay, the jams live through me. All right, I'm gonna get us started. Here we go. Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Blackout Tips Podcast. I'm your host, Rod. Joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
and we're live on a Sunday in the afternoon, slightly inebriated. Well, one of them.
I was about to say, I didn't know. You didn't give me a heads up. My bad.
It's all good.
I mean, I can make me something.
Honestly, it's really more for me. And we have guests. We have guests, y'all. First time on the show, but I've been listening to this podcast for a couple years now. And I remember saying to Joe, I listened to your podcast and I gotta have you on the show one day. And it just one of those things. It just passed my mind. I was listening to the show. I was like, oh my God, I can have them on. So I emailed them, and we're having them on right now. It's Joe and Amy, who are hosts of the American Timelines podcast, a husband and wife team. And the catchphrase of the show is "History for Jerks." And we know Joe from working with him at the Blumenthal Performing Arts Center. How are y'all doing this Sunday afternoon?
Just chilling.
I'm working.
I'm chilling, but she's working because she's a teacher, so she's working all the time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even on a Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She works 24/7. It's ridiculous.
Right.
She's a special ed teacher, so it does. Yeah, it never stops. And we just hope that everyone in America realizes that your teachers never stop working. They work all around the clock. I mean, I have to yell at her like, "Hey, stop working and research some murders for our podcast."
This is why we have to give the pay raises. You know, I saw North Carolina, they're giving out pay raises this year. Finally.
Little.
Yeah.
But then did you see that they're going to put they're going to tax the public service loan forgiveness? Not that the stuff that Biden's going to forgive, North Carolina's going to tax.
I saw that.
Ain't that some bullshit? People go, this is not fucking income. How are you going to charge this as income?
Oh my God. People do not know how to
Seriously.
forgive. You know, that's my issue right now. People don't know how to forgive people. When you forgive somebody, it's forgiven. Water under the bridge, you let it go. No one's ever said, I forgive you, but also I'm going to need 10%. You know, like no.
That is not how this works. So my loan is forgiven, but now I gotta turn around and pay you a few $100s. My tax refund is deducted by a few $100s, and now I owe you a few $100.
This is why
for
it's
something
important.
that was forgiven.
This is why it's important. Don't just vote for president, y'all.
That's
Vote
right.
Vote all the time locally is because all this stuff that we love federally that goes to the states, there's always someone in the states like
Follow the money.
And how often do people run unopposed because nobody else is even running?
Right.
And then because nobody's voting, and then you get all this crap. And you wonder why.
Crazies. Oh my God, my school board is filled with crazy white people.
Yes.
They are, and I had to review the board policies today. I was just doing this. And one of the policies, and it was about what we are and are not allowed to teach. And it said, hold on. I'm going to bring it up because I want you to hear this. Go ahead. Keep talking. 1 second.
We'll vamp for you.
Yeah. And also, I think me and Roger Given covered it about how a lot of these people actually started going into school boards. Like a lot of the people that were like pro-Trump, what was that that extremely right party, kind of was like, we're going to make a change.
Tea Party.
Yeah, Tea Party. A lot of them started going to the school boards, going into the city council places, and winning these positions.
And it affects stuff like the teachers' raises. It affects what they teach in class, like curriculum. Like
listen to this. This is what it says.
Crazy.
The belief, this is what we're not allowed to teach, that the belief that the United States is a meritocracy is not an inherently racist or sexist belief or that the United States was not created by members of a particular race or sex for the purpose of oppressing members of another race or sex. So we're not allowed to teach that white people came over
We
here,
have to pretend that
eliminated
it
one
was all races that came over
culture,
here.
enslaved another culture, and then it's
You're
just
not allowed to even say that.
So does this affect like social studies and history teachers? Because like that's the whole purpose of what they teach,
right?
Well,
yeah.
Well, allow me to love on you guys for a second, okay? I'm a big fan of your show. I listen to it every week, or every time you put it out, I listen to it.
Because every week is not always
every 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to be shady. It's just some weeks it don't make it. It's all right. It's all good.
That's right.
Yeah,
life be lifing.
But I love your show. The show is basically, and forgive me if I misexplain it, but the show is basically like y'all take a month of like a year in the past or just a time period, and y'all explain to people the stories that were like big news at that time, and each episode is like another month or whatever, and y'all are eventually gonna, if you live long enough, catch up. Hopefully catch up to like current times at some point, but like you just go through American history at that point in time. If y'all like to explain it better than I did.
Yeah, so I guess the only like real stipulation that's kind of weird is that we're going backwards but also forwards, because we started with the 90s and then we went to the 80s and then we went to the 70s.
Because it was
the
the sooner it is, the easier it is to get research on things.
Right.
Now we're in the 50s and it's like
it's harder to find.
And
stuff,
I said, I don't think we can do the 40s month by month because I can't find any crimes that were written about,
And there wasn't as much news. There was no like pop culture. There was no TV once we get to the 40s. But the reason we did that, we started with the 90s because when we first started, we didn't know what we were doing. And we thought, well, there's a bunch of murders and crimes from the 90s everybody's heard about. So we figured that'll be easy to figure out what our format is and learn how to research and learn how to do everything. And we really just started it to have something to do. And we like podcasts. She loves true crime. I don't like true crime, but I like history.
He likes pro wrestling.
Culture. I like pro wrestling.
He likes to bring that up a lot.
I like old school pro
Diamond Dallas Page.
Yeah, Diamond Dallas. We talked about him being born. And that's what the cool thing about the 50s now. We're talking about old wrestlers that from my day that were when they were born and all that. So so we learned as we learned, and then we realized, boy, it's hard to cover a whole year in one episode because there's so much happening, and that's why we kind of expanded to a month at a time because there's so much shit to talk about, and it was hard to. We didn't want to just gloss over stuff. So at the beginning, we were just talking about like pop culture songs and funny things, and then like like Jeffrey Dahmer and Eileen Wuornos and stuff like that, which was all fun. But then as we got more into it and more in depth, and then for me, when I look at history, it's just because I want to learn. Like I admit to being a dumb guy. Like I wasn't good in school. I didn't really pay attention to history and stuff. But now that I'm an adult, it's important to know about history and how it repeats itself and how we are where we are today and why we are. And so the more we delve into it, it got real serious sometimes. It's like, oh my God, we're supposed to be a comedy. I thought it was going to be a comedy podcast. And the 60s, we had to talk about civil rights the whole time. It was just like depressing. Right. And so it's like, oh my God, but we didn't want to gloss over it and pretend it didn't happen, or like just because it's sad and it makes you feel bad doesn't mean you can just gloss over it. So
that's the thing too, is like, there's an extreme movement to stop teaching this stuff in school. But even when I was coming up, they didn't teach a lot of stuff in school. It was very there was a civil rights movement. Martin Luther King died. Everyone's free. There's no need to talk about this anymore.
That's right.
And they was like, okay, we're done. And the thing about it is, I'm like you as far as history. History is very boring to me, and I try to be funny, and history is very white to me. Even though as I became an adult, I was like, oh, it's other shit that happened. And then me and Roger joke about it, but they have their quote unquote pre-approved Negroes, we called it. Yeah. And they like have a group of black people, and you cannot dare go outside of these black people.
You can teach about Rosa Parks, MLK.
Right.
The dude that invented the peanut. I know that's not real.
Madam C.
But don't bring up Fred Hampton and don't bring up, Marcus Garvey.
So like,
that's the things we're getting into. Like we're learning about black civil rights leaders that I'd never heard of. I'm like, why have I not heard of this person? So it's important to us to talk about these people so that whoever listens, we may not have a lot of listens, but hey, this is a place you can get this information, and we got no reason to lie about it. So
that's exactly why I say I have to love on y'all, because y'all two are my favorite white people. Because y'all go through like history and y'all don't gloss over like some of these like stories. Like I didn't even know about this story where Nat King Cole got like attacked at where he was like doing a concert, and like he comes on, like he gets attacked and has to go to the hospital. He comes on stage, he's like, I was doing this for y'all.
Yeah.
Why are y'all beating me up? I'm here.
Right?
Yeah, it was the Klan that jumped him. And what I like about it is that he went to the hospital to get checked out, so he didn't play the white people show, but he came back and played the black people show.
Yes,
that was cool.
Shout out to Nat King Cole. I had no idea. Okay, because to me, Nat King Cole is like, you know, unforgettable. Right?
Yeah,
like,
smooth.
I don't even associate that music with like a dude that's like, yeah, I'm bleeding from the head, but I need to perform for the black people in town. Like, I don't even
Yeah. And y'all were talking about covering all different years. Like, eventually, you're gonna have to go get the microfiche. That's about the only way you're gonna get some of this.
I know, right?
Oh
my goodness, I know. Then I have to leave my house, and I don't know if that's what happens.
Right, y'all have to go to the library and go down the basement. They're gonna have to blow the dust off that bitch.
It's gonna have to be the Dewey Decimal System to find out.
And it's gonna be the 80-year-old woman, because she the only one to know how to use it. Anybody 40 and up gonna be like, I don't know how to use that bitch. Where's the microfiche?
That's right. I used to love that microfiche thing, though, man. Once I got figure out how to do it, it was like, oh my god, it's like TV for nerds.
One thing I want to say, in all seriousness, really quick, because I'll forget it, because my brain, I have ADD, so my brain is like hopping. It's like a bunny rabbit. But I think it's so important to teach the real history, because if not, white children, who I'm centering them for just a second, they look at their black friends who might not have as much as they do, and they don't realize the systems that were in place to make sure that was the way it is. They're going to think that there's some kind of flaw inherent in that other person, and that is really, to me, what like the MAGA movement kind of they don't want anybody to see the system that built this, and that is constantly tried to divide us. And I'm done being divided.
Listening to y'all's podcast in the same era as like the anti-CRT quote unquote movement, it's like so interesting, because like this is history. It's American history. I'm not ashamed of American history in that way, where it's like bad things happen. I think the shame is in when you don't learn it, than rather than learning about it. I'd rather learn about it and go, okay, this is a dark thing and we shouldn't do this again, rather than be like, America, #1, it's the best. Captain America and the Marvel Avengers. That's all it is. And you know, I think that's what I like about the show, is like there's so many times where like we have to reckon with like warmongering. We have to reckon with propaganda. We have to reckon with civil rights movements. And it's educational, but also it's not really like condescending, you know, like it's educational in a way where it's like y'all are learning, y'all are interested in these topics, and and it makes me as a listener feel interested in and invested in the topics. And I think that's why it's one of the more unique shows out, and you know, one of the reasons that I'm just a big fan of you guys. So
I love it.
Man, I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
We're wondering who listens, but
we're like, I don't know who listens to this, man.
But I think that's the thing.
Well, I know y'all are like #1 in like, you know, different jurisdictions in America and in the world. Like, don't
we're #1 in American history. Done by jerks who are stupid. No, but I think part of what we're kind of talking about here too is America and what America really is, and that you can be patriotic, without whitewashing everything, and just be aware of we're all stuck here. We all were born here of whatever circumstances. So it doesn't mean you have to hate where you come from or hate your neighbor or because you hate the history and you hate some certain things that happen. Doesn't mean I hate you or hate this. I'm not blaming you. We got to learn from it. We got to know.
Got to acknowledge it. Yeah, at the very least.
And
I mean, just the Nat King Cole thing. I mean, how many people even realized that they had to play separate shows, that they would play twice in the night to white audiences and black audiences. And then part of the problem too is that that was the first a black person that played with an all white band too. And I don't even know if I got into that in that episode. It's just there's so much info. Like that was a problem too. Like you're not even allowed to perform integrated. Just the crap that everybody's gone through and all the sports people that have gone through.
That like makes me and I think, you know, obviously there's like an element of like anger and stuff at this kind of stuff, obviously. But it also makes me like tremendously proud of certain people where you're like, yo, you persevered that. I had no idea. I just like literally until I heard that story about Nat King Cole, I was literally like, that's the dude that sang the Christmas song. And now I'm like, yo, this dude was about it. Like
he dealt with some things.
Listen, if I was at the Blumenthal and they hit me with a bottle, that'd be the end of the show. You know,
well, I think you're the only one hitting yourself with a bottle the way you were at the last podcast.
That is true. That is true.
And one thing I did want to add to this conversation, white supremacy affects white people. And that's something that they don't understand.
Yes.
And the thing is, when you would talk about centering the white children, it does need to be centered around them because they are the future. They are the future white people. And so it's one of those things where if you don't actually get the future white people to actually understand what's happening and going on, the cycle will continue to repeat itself.
Yes.
And so this is why their parents try their hardest to suppress and not teach. But one thing that actually they can't control, quote unquote, right now is internet. So a lot of the teachings are being done online, on TikTok, on YouTube, and whatever the other platform I'm too old to know about right now. That's where they're getting their knowledge from. And this is why, for me, they want to make schools where schools are kind of outside the neighborhoods where you don't bus anymore and things like that. Because right now schools are mixed, they're integrated, but because the law says that they have to be. Not
I think the thing they're doing now is like, we can't stop the integration, right? Black people are in our schools. We just won't teach anything that we think would highlight the fact that there's been like bad interactions in history in the past. And I think that's why they're trying to control that. But let me ask y'all a couple questions, okay?
All right.
Okay.
How did you meet?
How do we meet each other?
Yeah.
Well, we are gonna. I mean, I feel bad. I always just start with them, but
first of all, Joe, we don't need a minute by minute recount of how we met. He wants us to give a summary.
Okay.
Which is usually a paragraph.
All I was going to start with is that we are celebrating this month. We'll be celebrating our 20th wedding anniversary.
What? We just celebrated our 20th anniversary yesterday or today.
The same month in September.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. This is why we get along.
That's crazy. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we got married, but we were together for 5 years before that. So 25 years of being together this June. But 20 years. So we met at a summer stock theater. We're both theater people, actors. And she was from Southeast Missouri State, and I was from Bowling Green State University. And both schools performed at the Huron Playhouse in Ohio. And so
what is summer stock? What is that? Is that like Woodstock?
No. I don't know why. I don't know what the stock means, but no. And I guess they still have them. So in the summer, a lot of college kids you get college credit for it if it's associated with a school. So you audition and you live there. Like you go to wherever the school is.
It's like theater camp, I would say, more than anything.
Yeah, you did like 5 plays throughout the summer and you go and live there. Like we lived in an elementary school.
Yeah, they put like flats up for walls and everybody had their cubicle and
you spend all day together. Like you wake up in the morning and you work in the scene shop, you work in the costume shop, you do acting and props and publicity, and you learn every aspect of it. So you spend all day together from like 7 a.m. till
midnight.
Yeah, midnight, because then you go out to the bar after you're done. But so we always told people like, we just met this summer, but every day in summer is like a week. And then we really felt like after that summer when we got together, we had been together for a while. So
what plays were you performing? Do you remember the plays?
We did Once Upon a Mattress.
Yeah. She was the queen and I was the king.
Yeah, and we
the
did
Silent
Born
King.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was in that. Yeah, I had a small.
Wow.
role.
He was a shoeshine boy.
I was a shoeshine boy. And she was
I was the lead, and he
Andre.
was a shoeshine
I was
boy.
always like the comedy guy, like
Oh, okay.
character actor. I did what was the one where I had the voice like this?
Oh God, what's that play called? I can't remember.
Man, I don't remember.
But Joe
Anyway.
can't carry a tune, so
Yeah, I can't sing.
that limits some of his summer
I
stuff.
couldn't really
So
sing.
yeah, that's how we met.
Oh, that's nice, man.
Oh,
That's such a
that's
beautiful story.
sweet.
Yeah.
I feel like summer camp stuff does count like a day is a week. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like you really know people at the summer camp, you know.
Mhm.
And that's cool that y'all kept that connection even after that.
Yeah.
So what was the point? Like, when did you decide to do like a podcast? Like, who was the person that brought that up?
Well, this
Well,
is
we
a point of
disagree.
contention.
We disagree on how it started.
Because it was my idea.
Mhm.
The idea of a podcast was his idea.
Right.
The
Okay.
idea of American Timelines was my idea.
Right. That's true. I agree with that.
Ah.
Oh, okay.
Kind of.
In the past, you have
Well,
disagreed.
it took us a while to get to it because we meandered and we had to go like, what about this and how about that? The whole deal is I was trying to start a podcast. I had a podcast that I temporarily started. I don't even think we ever released any episodes, but it's with some people I worked with. And I was very important to me at that time I wanted it to be a history podcast. We were going to talk about the presidents, but talk about anything other than just them being president, like their weird personal lives, their weird hangups, their marriages, when they died, and like weird stuff about it.
The tawdry and sordid.
Yeah, that type of
details.
stuff. So we're going through all that, and so I had these people at work. There was a female, a gay guy, me, and a black guy, and so it was like really diverse I wanted people that had different perspectives and backgrounds and everything, and we had a lot of fun doing it. And the gay guy was hilarious, and we were just laughing our butts off. But anyway, we couldn't ever get our schedules together, so it was just like we recorded twice, and I thought they were great. I don't know, I gotta find those recordings anyway. So and then one of them moved away, and then we just never do it. I was getting frustrated. We're never gonna be able to do this. And the guy I worked with had a recording studio in his house, so I didn't have any equipment or anything. But I was like, man, it sucks. He's moving away, and he moved away. I was like, I lost my recording studio. And so I was like, man, I'm really bummed. I got to figure out I got to find somebody to do a podcast with. And I didn't have any idea she would want to do a podcast. And so she was like, well, I'd like to do one. Because we both love podcasts, but different kinds. Like she loves true crime, like nonstop true crime.
No, that's not true.
You don't love true crime?
I love true crime, but it's not nonstop. I like politics. I like history.
Yeah, I mean, now you like multiple ones, but at the time it was nothing but, I mean, you'll hear Amy coming. You'll hear the podcast before she walks into a room because she's just got it playing on her phone. And then she's over here playing a podcast and up here. And it's all just murders. And I've never understood the true crime thing. Like, why does anybody
They say women
like
is the
this?
number one market for that. For those podcasts, they say women actually is the reason why.
I'm not gonna lie. I love me a true crime podcast. I do.
I mean, there's something about it's like
that fear that
it's the closest thing to a monster that we have. And if you like monster, like I love being fake scared, you know what I mean? Like Halloween, go through a haunted attraction kind of scared, because it's kind of like a tickle or something. I just love it. And as long as I know it's not real, you know what I mean? Like a scary movie or something. I love that. So true crime,
you're not in danger, but
the
thrill of hearing about the danger.
And true crime is true. So it's more fascinating because it's like it's just interesting, the depths of human depravity.
I'm the opposite. Like I'm already nervous enough. I got enough stress in my life. Like in my free time, I want to watch, goofy stuff. I want to watch, a comedy and stand up and whatever. So for me, it's like I don't want to feel nervous. Like I don't like going through a haunted house.
It's very ironic because it makes you a great true crime victim, Joe.
Well, I'm convinced. She's gonna murder me someday. Like I know that's gonna happen.
You're not out here with your head on the swivel. You're not woke like me and Amy, where we leaving the house like, oh no, I dropped my keys in my car. I'm gonna just go back in the house. I don't know. This is how it happens, Oh, this guy's got a cast and he's got a puppy. I'm gonna drive right by that dude. I don't give a damn. You know, Joe's
Yeah,
like,
I
I'll
am
help this
very,
guy with the cast and the puppy. Let me let him in.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'm very dumb when it comes to that. So okay, long ass story, kind of short. So she said I'll do a podcast, and I was like, I don't want to do true crime. She's like, we'll do true crime. No, what if we do comedy? And then I thought, well, maybe we'll combine the two, and we'll do history and true crime, and I'll try to do comedy, you know. And I thought it'd be funny. And then there was one we both liked called Last Podcast on the Left, where it's got aliens and stuff.
I love
They've
that.
been around forever.
And so they're all comedians and stuff. So I was like, oh, we could do it kind of off of that. So at the early episodes, if you listen to those, like I'm basically just getting drunk and trying to be those guys and interrupting her all the time. And she's like, shut up.
What do you that you've stopped doing that?
Right, yeah. What do you mean back then?
Not as much. That was 2018. I guess I still do that. But
well, I feel like
so some people hate that. Like we've gotten a lot of reviews of people like, that guy won't shut the hell up. I hate this podcast. I want to listen to the woman. And I agree, but I was trying to be funny, and I
feel like you get off on trolling Amy a little bit.
Yeah,
you know?
it is kind of fun.
But I feel like that's kind of the charm of the show. Like it's like, you know, Joe wants to highlight a birthday. Amy hates birthdays. We have to go through the Amy hates birthday song, and then you know he's gonna still like it. And
that's right.
I don't know. I think it's charming. As long as episodes keep coming out, I assume that the marriage is healthy. And
we're still, that's it. That's like it'd be the worst if something happened.
The podcast is actually the only thing that's holding us together
at this point. Yeah.
So
I do think
we get that final very sad episode where it's only Joe by himself. And
we know it's all going down.
After they play the intro song of It's About Time or whatever, and then it's like, all right, guys, Amy finally got over it. I did one too many birthdays.
She's had enough of me.
She said that's enough birthdays for me, and that's just me by myself.
Yeah, well, we did have, when you got real busy with school, I had to have some guest hosts a couple of times, and I kept thinking everybody probably either thinks I killed you or you left me or something, since it's true crime.
Yeah.
But we know if you killed her, she would love the podcast about it. You know? That's the good news.
Yeah.
Well, I've always told him that I have notes hidden around the house that say that if something happens to be my husband did it, so that if the police ever search, then they'll zero in on him, just that to keep him from, you know.
That way, even if he doesn't do it, we still get a dope true crime podcast.
I know, right?
I don't
know what I mean? It's like, oh my God,
innocence.
He was framed by his dead wife. You know, like Netflix would be all over that. You know?
Yes, they would. Podcasters that killed each other or whatever.
Well, and I would definitely try to haunt you too, so there would be a supernatural element.
Maybe where does the disdain for birthdays come from? Is it just
it's not birthdays in general? Okay. It's the birthdays that he chooses to talk about. You know, I don't, you know, I would love to hear a story about somebody who did a lot of wonderful things later in life, but you know, Randy Macho Man Savage or Jim J. Bullock are not necessarily the people that I think about.
Diamond Dallas Page or the guy who played Venus.
Oh my God. And then we got to hear about what high school they went to and what mascot that was and what other alumni go to that high school. And it just turns into this.
I'm fascinated by who people went to high school with. You know, like Ving Rhames. Did you know that Stanley Tucci named Ving Rhames Ving because they went to college together? Like, that fascinates me, and she doesn't give a shit about that.
It's funny because you can hear like Amy like tuning out, where it's just like, all right, Joe's gonna do his birthday thing, and now we got to hear about the British Bulldog or whoever this person is.
Right.
we gotta give this 3 minutes. It's 3 minutes, and then I can go back to my true crime story. Okay,
yes,
that's right.
That's what we do. It's give and take.
It's
give and take.
It's like a marriage.
But I do feel like when we started doing the podcast, I do feel like it did a lot for our marriage. Not that our marriage was bad, but we didn't have any shows to watch together. We didn't.
Well, you guys probably know, like how often do people spend 2 hours just talking?
Yeah, it makes you sit and talk to each other. Yeah,
I say this all the time. When we go out, when we used to go out to eat more, but when we go out to eat. And like I pull out my tablet or my Kindle,
my tablet.
Karen pulls out her tablet
or my Switch,
and then like the waiter's always doing this thing like, "Oh, you guys have your devices. You're not gonna talk to each other." I'm like, I I swear to God, we talk to each other more than any other married couple.
Yeah, you guys really do.
Like you really, like, honest to God, I know everything she's gonna say. Let's just not. You bring the cheesecake, I'll eat it. That's this transaction.
Yes. It's hilarious when we go out to eat and Roger goes by himself and I'm not there. I don't think they know how to respond because most of the time the meet and greet and happiness is all I take all their energy. And he doesn't get it because he's an introvert and I'm an extrovert. Like, hey, people, how you doing? And I'm the reason why we get like free shit. I remember one time we had went to one of our favorite places, and I love a good craft of mimosas.
Ooh, yes.
It just so happened that one of the bartenders, we went go there so regular. When the bartender was like, "Hey, they made a mistake for mimosas. Would you like this craft for free?" I was like, "Yes, thank you."
Oh my yes.
It's an exchange. Like I don't get free stuff, but I also get left alone when I'm by myself, which is honestly better than free stuff. Just leave me the fuck alone. I just want to eat a burger and I want to read comic books.
Yes,
so,
Roderick's been in places they almost look sad I didn't come.
but I do love that dynamic about the show. Where it does kind of feel like I kind of get that vibe sometimes when I listen to the show where it's like like there's a needling that happens sometimes, but it's fun and it's not like mean or you know what I mean. It's like, oh, Joe's gonna do his birthday thing and then or Amy's gonna do a true crime thing and Joe's gonna like grin and bear it. He's gonna try to make a couple jokes out of it, but like I'm here for all of it. So I love y'all's interactions.
Oh, wow, thank you.
Yeah. I did feel bad. One guy got mad recently, and you know, I tried to like feel bad about it, but I can't remember. He commented on what our YouTube channel, I guess, which because our podcast goes out there, not many people look at it there, but he was upset because it was a crime that happened in his hometown, somewhere in Reno, I think. I don't even remember what episode, somewhere in the 70s, and he said, "I looked up this crime." Because it happened in my hometown, I was interested in it. But the guy is disrespectful. Have some respect. You know, this is somebody a real person who died, and you know you're interrupting and you're disrespectful. So I went back and listened to the episode. I was like, what did I do? And it was one where they walked in the door and they found the victim's heart like still beating on the floor or something.
Oh my God.
And I was like, and I kept going, oh God, I'm gonna barf. Oh, it's so gross. And I was saying the same things as I was reacting to the episode that I was in the one. I was like, no, you gotta that's hard to do to listen to a story like that and not try to throw up.
I would say that listener needs to have a heart, you know? Like
that's right.
Man, not everybody can listen to that walking in on somebody's heart laying in the middle of the floor and not want to throw up.
Yeah, that's human.
It was a real person. I felt bad. Sorry to the
y'all do get feedback sometimes that is like people that also are upset that y'all are covering history that like it's like, oh, America did what in this war? But like what, like y'all trying to like, I don't know, cancel culture us or something like it's too woke for us that y'all said it was bad that these people were good, like love slavery or whatever. Like what like do you like what does that feedback really do? Like why are they listening? Number one.
Yeah, why would you listen? I think there's a lot of people that see our title, American Timelines, and some of those people that are woke or not woke, but MAGA and like America. I'm gonna follow everything America. Yeah, and that's how I know you haven't listened. If you're there's a lot of people like that follow us. I know they haven't listened because they wouldn't like us once they heard.
They'll have like the thin blue line flag or something as their profile picture, and it's like, okay, you're definitely not listening to our podcast.
American Eagles.
Try to kill us.
You have now made me wonder what the podcast they want would sound like. You know what I mean?
No.
Oh God! Like, just go to a 1950s textbook.
Well, Ben Shapiro was probably doing that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Martin Luther King was making too much trouble, and I'm glad it took him out. Okay. On to the next article. Okay.
Right.
A woman was killed.
He never did. Yeah. Martin Luther King never cared about anything, but he just wanted a dream, and that was it. He never did anything for the poor or the, you know,
the greatest American that no one liked.
And it's like, if these people lived back then, they would have hated Martin Luther King because
exactly, Like I don't know why his approval rating was so low, but great guy that would approve of everything Trump is doing.
Yeah, right.
Joe, what is your favorite historical birthday?
Oh gosh.
Mm.
Well, my favorite historical that we've covered so far.
Yeah, your favorite one that you were like, boom, I like even Amy's gonna be impressed with this one.
Oh man. I'm trying to think.
I just can't remember. I'm usually kind of stoned when we do the podcast.
Whoa, hey,
I can't remember. I can't always remember them, especially because I tune the birthdays out on top of that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a double whammy for me.
I was just thinking, I'm just really fast. I mean, the reason I cover the birthdays is because you can find anything on Wikipedia now, and finding out where people were born and what they, where they lived, and then where they went to school with. If they went to the same school as somebody, I think I stumbled upon.
You said I know what it was. It was Bryan Cranston ran into Charles Manson.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston.
Something.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston. We're talking about him from Breaking Bad. Yeah, when he was a kid, he bumped into Charles Manson as a teenager while he was riding horses with his cousin. I was like, what?
Holy shit.
And I looked up on the internet. He's told that story a bunch of times. So that was crazy. I mean, that was a recent one. But I think like schools, I think there's a school. Is it Gladys Knight, Sam Cooke? I mean, somewhere in Chicago, there's a school that a bunch of unbelievable, amazing Motown artists all went to the same school. And it's like all these
that's
people
always crazy. Like in Philadelphia, like the Roots, Questlove and stuff, they were in school, and it's like, we were in school with like Boys and Men, and we were in school with
really
like everybody became famous from your fucking school. Like that's crazy.
That is crazy.
Most people, there's like one famous person.
I don't have any famous people from
there's
my
no
school.
famous people. Like,
and
you can imagine like most of those schools, like, we're the home of Jim Varney, Ernest.
Yeah, somebody like that. Yeah,
but some of them are like multiple people. There's one we're about to cover. What did I just see? It's Red Grange, the school in the town where Red Grange is from, the old football players called the Galloping Ghosts. Their team mascot is the Galloping Ghosts, and that's where Bob Saget went to school.
What?
Galloping Ghosts?
First of all, what are the odds that your team mascot is also your nickname? That's crazy.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
like that dude was so good. They were like, "Yo, he is the USC Trojans or whatever."
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's
wherever
crazy.
he was. No, so I don't think he even went there, but he's from that town. So they named the school the Galloping Ghost. But then Bob Saget went there later. But Bob Saget was born on the same day as Sugar Ray Leonard. And you wouldn't know that unless I was on your podcast right now telling you.
And dropping those birthday bombs. That's what I call it. Okay. My man Joe coming through. He got the birthdays. You can already feel Amy's eyes rolling when he starts because it's always in the, I don't know if it's a purposeful choice, but it is always in the middle of Amy's story. Like it's always
yes.
Amy's like, a woman disappeared, but her baby was found in a trash can, and then the woman's body. And he's like, hey, you know who else was born on September 7th, 1981? He's like, what?
Well, the non sequitur started when we did the 80s because it was like I love to talk about
what was on TV.
What was on TV because that's how I remember things. Like I'll remember when I watched that episode of Different Strokes when Dudley got raped. So I'll remember that. So if you say like, this murder happened the same day that on Silver Spoons, Alfonso Ribeiro, was dancing or whatever.
Listen,
I remember that.
Dudley at that bicycle shop was the first special victims unit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember watching that episode. I think everybody who watched it remembers probably watching that.
Well, I had trouble watching WKRP after that.
Well, they don't talk. They don't talk. They didn't back then talk about pedophilia.
None of that.
When I was growing up, as I was born in 1972, and as I grew up, I don't remember. I remember stranger danger, but I don't remember anybody talking about like sex abuse or any of
None of that stuff. And the fact they put that on like a comedy TV show, like that was it was like once a year, every comedy TV show had somebody who was like, we trying to win an Emmy.
Yeah, a very special episode.
It's like, listen, this week Carlton is on drugs. Okay, we gotta put Carlton on drugs. Moments. Will Smith is gonna cry, and we're all gonna give him an Emmy.
So everybody remembers on Saved by the Bell when that girl was addicted to caffeine pills or whatever.
Yes, Jesse. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so scared. I've never do speed in my life. I've never done that all to this day.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
They always, and with weed, there was always episodes where somebody was going crazy, jumping out the window because they were on pot.
Because they're on pot.
That's the reality of it. No, most of the time you're just gonna your fridge is gonna be empty from food.
Yeah,
you can eat some snacks
along with like DARE program. That was like probably the number one thing.
I'm a DARE kid, and they caught me because they had me scared. Like, Going jump from behind that gated fence in that old basketball court and be like, you know what? These drugs.
Those like PSA. First of all, they would have like the cops come and talk to your class. Like, number one, it's already scary. It's like a guy with a gun who's never in your class, but suddenly he's in your class, and then they play like an infomercial, and then it's always like the fucking like Curtis Mayfield Pusher starts playing, or it's like, I'm your pusher or whatever, and it's like the bullies are like beating up the nerds to make them do drugs. Like,
right,
none of it makes sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. Like, drugs are way too expensive for these bullies to be giving them away.
And you know what? And as I'm trying to tell you, as an adult, I don't know where none of the drugs are. Like, you got to know where to find the drugs. And
that's right.
Drug dealers don't like you.
Yeah, drugs sell themselves.
That's right.
You never see an ad for drugs because people want it.
Yeah, I've been asking my kids, what is Molly? What's that?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's like, you gotta, like, my problem was I didn't get to be cool enough to do the drugs. Like I didn't get to try weed until last year. Oh no, this year.
What?
When
Really?
New York. I was in New York. I've always wanted to try it, by the way.
Well, New York, they just pass it out when you get there.
Exactly. It was at the park. Somebody bought some weed, and we smoked weed in the park. But
What'd you think?
It was amazing. Okay.
Well, I want to say welcome as part of the
you.
cannabis community. Welcome.
Yes, we need to legalize it in North Carolina. I want to have weed.
It's tobacco town here. It's like they will make a killing.
Yeah,
you would think,
right?
It would, they should.
Yeah, big tobacco probably against the weed because they know, like,
that and the prison prisons are, the prison industrial complex. That's how they get all the free labor.
Exactly.
Imprisoning people for it.
But that like propaganda had me scared when I was a kid, and then you grow up and you realize, like, oh no, that this album The Chronic is dope because
that album's so much better.
Exactly. It's like, because of weed, this shit is dope. Like, what kind of shit was I learning?
That's right.
Amy, where'd your love of true crime come from? Like, were you a person? Because I realized a long time ago, I was in true crime before it was true crime. Like, I remember I had a job. It was a real 9-to-5 job that you need like a college degree for, right? And I would be on my computer wasting time. I don't even remember the name of the blog, but it was a blog that was just like every serial killer. And I would just
I think I know what you're talking about. Was it like a court TV or something?
No, it was. This is some bootleg shit. This was like 2000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This was like
on your work computer?
On my work computer, dog. Who knows now? Like, now I feel like that site would be cut off from work computers. But this was like the advent of the internet, right? It was,
back then they didn't have
IT got fancy.
Yeah. So I remember, to burn time, I would go on here and just read like each one, like through alphabetical order. Like, what did this serial killer do? What did this serial killer do? And I loved that shit, but I never talked about it because I was like, obviously, I'm the only person that loves knowing this shit. I'm not crazy or creepy. I don't think this is like good. It's not like I'm somewhere like, man, serial killing right up top. Like, it was really very fucked up stuff, but I just liked reading about it and knowing about it. And then somehow in podcasting, it really took off. And before that, even like documentaries, I would watch documentaries about serial killers and true crime stuff. So where did your love of true crime stuff come from? And was it like a podcast thing, or was it before that?
Oh gosh. Well, my birthday's in October. And when I was a kid, my mom was very creative, and she would have haunted house birthday parties for me, and the basement of our house, my family would make into a haunted house, and my family members would dress up, and my friends would come over and go through the little haunted house. Then we had all kinds of fun, and so I had all these good memories based around Halloween and spooky. And then when I got into be a teenager, I started liking, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and all these kind of movies. I thought, oh, they're fun because they're scary. But then when I was a junior in high school, I think is when Jeffrey Dahmer happened. And the details that came out about that were like, what? Like, it made my head, I'm like, he did what?
Yeah, he's the guy that raped dudes and then ate them, right?
Yeah, well, pretty much. He did all kinds of things. He made zombies, like he drilled holes in their skull and poured acid, and they turned into, and he like had like dicks in the fridge, and
freezer dicks,
Dixicles.
Dixicles.
Oh my God, I know that's.
He's
bad.
like, I'm grilling tonight. Okay,
well, you know, right? So that's when I kind of realized, but I always liked it, like I said, scary stuff and kind of being scared. And
like, I remember reading about like there were serial killers, and then there were like the spree killers, which is like a separate category of serial killer. And I would read about them, but there was like no place to talk about it. Cause like I said, the internet was kind of new. So there wasn't really, like, a culture around it, but
well, how do you bring that up around people you don't know very well?
Yeah.
Because now you look crazy. You know what I mean?
You do.
You can't randomly bring up freezer dicks at a like cocktail.
I know, right?
But
you hear about those freezer dicks I can do?
Yeah. Oh man. So what do you take? 77 to get to downtown? And what about freezer dicks? What about that? Not into that. Okay, I went too far. But yeah, it's that thing where like it was so interesting to watch in podcasting how true crime became like the #1 category, because apparently I wasn't crazy. Everybody
wasn't the only one
curious about this stuff.
People are into it. Yeah.
I think it's all kinds of documentaries about this stuff. And then I think the other part of it is, at least I remember growing up, the news never covered the details.
No.
That's right.
So like they would always make it sound like, oh, Jeffrey Dahmer killed a couple people and now he's in jail. And you're like, that seems like not the whole story. And then later
until
it's
2020 came out. And those
they're like, they like mention one salacious detail, like, and some of the rumors are he liked to eat his victims. You're like,
wait a minute.
I'd like to know more about that. That sounds insane. And then later you find out he was freezing dicks to barbecue or whatever. Well, yeah, they should tell us about that.
Yes,
and
it's important.
I think the biggest true crime story, at least, it's probably still the biggest true crime story, but coming up for me was the O.J. Simpson trial.
Oh yeah,
yes,
like that changed everything for me, because it was just like, before that it was like people kill people and then you just never, it was like they either guilty or not guilty. And that was the first time you watched how the sausage was made, and you're like, oh my God, this is insane what's happening.
And with the OJ trial, if I'm not mistaken, it was one of the first big cases where they actually allowed the media in there.
On TV.
Yeah, there was like prior to that,
and the ratings were crazy for that trial.
Oh my God.
I don't know if
everywhere.
I don't know how y'all were, but in my either high school, I think it was high school, they played the verdict on TV in my class.
Yeah,
I was in college.
I was
and
in college
they played the verdict.
They played it in the commuter center. I'll never forget, at college. And me and my buddy, I don't know if we're just like effing with people, but when he was not guilty, everybody was upset, and we were like, "Yeah, OJ!" And we like high five, like, yeah! And then everybody got pissed at us right away.
I look back now and feel horrible, because like it was in my high school. My high school was like majority black, so like we were celebrating. People were running down the hallway.
From classroom to classroom. I remember
they were
sitting
knocking
in class. They were busting the door open. It was like, oh, they not guilty.
I have no idea why we were celebrating, really. But at the time, it was like, yeah, finally,
Yeah.
white people
Yeah.
1 million, black people 1. You know,
That's
what I mean?
exactly what it felt like for me. Me and my buddy. I mean, we were both white, but we were still like, this is a race. Like we saw it as a race thing.
Well, there was so
Yeah.
many components.
but there's
with
other
the
people. Yeah,
police.
other people saw it as
Right.
there's a police. Yeah, with the
I mean,
police,
they were.
Yeah,
It was
they
like
were
with some
crooked as
racist
fuck,
ass
but
police
then there's like a
LAPD,
misogyny
LAPD
thing.
had like beaten Rodney King and gotten away with it. So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, finally,
That's right. It was
one
right
for
after
us.
Right.
And-
Yeah.
But at the same time, now I go back and look at it, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I was happy about. That was terrible. They
Yeah.
killed 2 people and got away with it.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
Yeah.
So
Hey, OJ, don't
complex.
sue us. I know OJ might listen. I know he's on Twitter. But don't sue me. But I mean, come on, you know what you did. You know?
Right.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
the
especially
thing
after he put out that book, If I Did It.
Yeah.
Like, well, are you kidding me?
They was like, no, I think they may have stopped it. I was like, no, sir, you can't do that book.
I like that OJ. I like that OJ has Twitter now. He clearly doesn't read the mentions.
Hello,
Yeah.
Twitter world.
The
He has
balls on
Twitter
him to
and he
put that.
and he puts out videos advising people on shit every once in a while. You're just
Does
like,
he really?
you're the last person I want advice from.
Oh my
It's
god.
like, hey, NFL, I don't think Deshaun Watson needs to be suspended. You're like, who the fuck is listening to you?
Yes. And also the thing about the OJ thing that was so crazy while the trial and everything was happening, particularly with like the Bronco chase and all that stuff,
Uh-huh.
they actually interrupted the NBA finals.
Yeah.
I remember that because I was watching the NBA final go, what the fuck? And this was the first time a lot of people had ever did picture in picture
Yeah.
Yes.
where
Yeah.
you like in the corner because they was like, we can't just strip away from the game because too many people are pissed off.
Right.
So they were like made the game small and made the Bronco thing big, and people was like, I don't give a fuck about this Bronco thing.
Yeah.
Right.
What the fuck
And
is this?
that was during the chase still, right? When he was
Yes,
being chased
it was a
before the
chase.
trial.
It
So
slowly
yeah, I remember
chase.
seeing that on TV. Like
I missed all of it. I was at a summer stock theater in Flat Rock, North Carolina that summer, and there
Yeah.
was no TVs, no radios, no phones.
Mm.
It
Yet
was something.
nobody had phones.
Ah.
So I called my house, and my mom said, "Did you hear about OJ?" And I was like, "Oh, who? OJ Simpson, the football player?" And she said, "Yeah."
Right.
And then she told me, and I was like, "Wow."
did that happen in summer?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, it did because it was the NBA finals.
I remember it was the
Okay.
Houston Rockets
Like
versus the
June?
New York Knicks, I believe.
Yes, and I was highly
and
upset.
to be honest, the Knicks were getting swept, so who gave a fuck?
Yeah.
But
See,
but
that's
it
the
was-
context. You remember what sport was on TV during that
I do.
thing, you know? It's
Yeah.
a pop culture thing. Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
the TV
that's
part
right.
of it that Joe loves
Yeah.
to cover.
Yeah.
What's the story that for y'all that either you just didn't know about or you didn't know the details of? Is there a story that you found like, oh, this is the most shocking story for me?
Oh, on our podcast?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, for me, that's everything. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
We don't.
everything we've done. Because I'm just a dumb guy who's just stumbled through life. I don't know how I got where I am, but everything I found is like,
He can barely wipe his ass, people.
wait a minute. I don't need to because of my bidet that I found during the pandemic. By the way.
Shout out to the
Hey.
bidet.
All right, toot TMI.
Step your toilet game up, people.
If the bidet people want me to advertise for them,
Oh,
I'm
God.
an
Okay.
advocate. It's
American
changed my life.
Streamline.
But no, everything I've found is news to me, and that's kind of how I'm covering. And that's why I think we like to not tell each other what we're covering, so it's like
Right.
news to you.
Yeah.
I don't know
right.
about you, but
Yeah, oh,
any-
yeah.
any of those murders that you were so shocked to find out about?
Well, I kind of know them already,
yeah.
Mm.
you know, because I,
I mean, you're
listen
getting
to
into
a
the
lot.
weeds on some of these,
I
though.
know.
Like, I mean,
That's
we talk
true.
about a moonshine, these moonshiners that have disappeared that was never solved
Right.
last week.
But
And-
one of my favorite stories, and this was one of what you told, and I think it was in the 80s or 90s, and it was Lawn Chair Larry.
Yo, I got to tell you about this. So lawn chair
Is my
so
favorite. I love
early
this
one of the
story.
early episodes in the first season. We talked about this guy, Lawn Chair Larry, who basically he affixed, I guess it was like 40 some giant balloons to a lawn chair, and he took a 6-pack of beer and a pistol with him, and as he floated up in the air.
He did. He floated away.
And the pistol was to, as he got too high, he would shoot out a balloon to lower himself. Like that's how he
How he's
flew.
gonna get back down?
And he just had a 6-pack of beer to pass the time. I was listening to, so another weird side thing about me that
Yeah.
everyone's gonna know now is that I listen to YouTube when I'm trying to sleep. Like it puts me to sleep. Like when I can't sleep at night, I just have these sleep headphone things, and I just randomly, I don't know what it's gonna play next, just randomly based on my algorithm. it was playing a David Letterman episode from the 80s, and Lawn Chair Larry was a damn guest.
Oh my God.
On
That's
Letterman last night that I listened to. So
that's awesome.
anyway, we're talking about this Lawn Chair Larry guy. That was a cool one. Like this
Well,
guy
and he got caught up in the power lines
yeah.
and all kinds
The
of stuff.
airplanes saw him and had to change their routes. The FAA was like, oh, this guy.
I mean, it's hysterical. We're not giving it justice. It is a funny story.
It's a funny
It
story.
is.
Yeah.
It's great.
There was a couple
I'm
of that
looking
first
on-
year
really
we
did
did.
up then.
I'm looking on Wikipedia. The flight he made was only 45 minutes. So he did all that
Yeah.
in
Lawn Chair
45
Larry.
minutes.
And then he was a guest on Letterman. Yeah, like that guy. And he said it was his lifelong dream. He kept saying on Letterman, that's my lifelong dream. I was fulfilling a dream.
What a dream. Like, give him a documentary, give him a movie. I want
Yeah.
to
It's
see.
like I have simple dreams, y'all.
I want to see a
That's
child that looks at balloons and goes, you know what? I think I can do this.
Well,
you
on
know?
that Letterman, he was saying that some woman financed the whole thing. She bought the balloons, she bought the pistol, she bought this, she bought all the stuff. But yeah, in the 90s, we talked about a lot of stuff like that we
Yeah.
hadn't heard of. Yeah.
I think one of
Yeah.
my favorite stories that y'all covered is the person that was shot at like a baseball game. And then they had to like try to figure out who shot this person.
Oh, yeah.
Who did it? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so
Bunch of people
random
in the
and crazy.
stands, and yeah.
Yeah, that
Like,
was.
oh my God. Like there's so much stuff. I've never heard that story before. And then it's just so much stuff in our history where you're just like,
Mhm.
this was probably like big news for like a month.
Mhm.
And then it was never news again.
Well, that's the thing. We didn't have Twitter and social media back then, so shit didn't
Right.
go viral. Viral was just like, did you read that in the paper?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And it's whatever your local news was. Because
Yeah.
we didn't have like
Yeah.
the national news like we had today. Or if you do, it's like the 4 channels.
Right.
Mhm.
yeah.
Are there any like historical figures that you like learned about through the show and it changed your view on that person?
Wow.
Hmm.
Fred Hampton for sure.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. Actually, a
Um,
lot of the Black Panthers that you had heard of here and there, and you always grew up hearing like Martin Luther King was good, Malcolm X was bad, but no real
Right.
reasons why.
Mhm.
And so learning about Malcolm X, how tragic his life was,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
was a big one. It's like, and why are we taught this way?
My high school final was on Malcolm X. And and at the time I just remember being like, man, I hope I don't get a fucking F for this. Like,
He was on the pre-approved list.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I really hope that they
Yeah.
let me graduate. 'Cause,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I read this book and I want to tell everybody about it. And
Mhm.
yeah, he was a guy. We weren't taught that much about him in school, other than like you said, bad.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Malcolm,
Right.
Martin Luther King was good. And then like I never learned anything about him and like his post American Islam phase and like
Mhm.
Mhm.
his whole thing. Like he took a trip to Mecca and he seen like different races of people that were Muslim and it made him be like, well, maybe white people ain't all that bad. And
Mhm.
just so I remember learning all that stuff on my own because obviously not taught in the classroom.
Right.
Right.
But well, it changed how I view Malcolm X because at the time I was just told that he was like the angry bad black man, even though
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
even that part I now look at like, yeah, there's a lot to be mad about, Like,
Yeah, there was.
Right.
And it's just like, I think that's what we continuously look at and see is like a lot of times we're like, why would any black person even want to ever speak to a white person? Like, why would they
Yeah,
ever?
really.
Like, why would they ever? Like, how could they ever? And just the ones that like all the shit that black people went through is just crazy.
Yeah.
And still to this day.
And one still go, yeah, not that it's
Right.
over, but like, just like, how can you even
I
question
find
or
that,
deny?
and I like that's what I love about the show too. Is like I actually find that kind of stuff validating,
Mhm.
because I
You
think
be like, oh, I'm not crazy, am I?
yeah, growing up as like a black kid in the South, and then
Oh
like,
yeah.
with the amount of stuff they don't teach in school or they
Right.
kind of gloss over, it's like in your mind you start feeling like, am I making this up that this thing feels wrong or that
Yes, I can't pinpoint
Yeah,
it,
and then,
I
like-
don't know why.
Well, it's
When
those
you hear-
microaggressions, right?
yes.
Like
And so,
daily, probably, sometimes.
When you hear like when you hear like the history of the country and some of the stories, especially the stories that like didn't even blow up, like they were just like a story that
Mhm.
happened one day and no one really talks about it, but it kind of validates like, oh, okay, so I'm not like this isn't in my head. Some stuff did happen. People don't want us to know about it. And that's kind of why we're stuck in some of the places we are today. You know, I remember when I was in school, every year for a while, every year in Black History Month, they would play the documentary series Eyes on the Prize.
Oh my God.
Oh, yes.
I fucking hated that documentary.
It's like the teacher, because the teacher would be like, I'm not teaching, I'm not gonna give you any extra like context. I'm just gonna play an hour of this documentary. We'll call that class today, and then we'll play an hour tomorrow, and you know, so
yeah.
And I remember like feeling like such like embarrassment and shame in those, like, oh my God, like, because they weren't adding context and like teaching us, they were just like showing us the documentary. And then but then like eventually as I got older, I really started gravitating towards learning that kind of history, because it's like, you know, like I said, for me, it made me feel less alone. It made me feel more like, oh, okay, this is what happened, and this is why people feel certain ways, and this is why laws are certain ways, and this is why my parents were worried about certain shit that I didn't understand when I was a kid. So like, that's part of one of the reasons I really like the podcast, is because y'all cover that stuff. And it's not, you know, I'm obviously Black, we're talking about race, but it's also like women, LGBTQ issues,
it's everything.
So many things where you're just like, oh, that's, people aren't being paranoid. There was a time where people were like, this guy's gay, let's kill him, you know. It's like, okay.
And also the thing is, it's best to know American history, because the tactics don't change. They use the same tactics on each marginalized group, and every group think that they're special. They're like, not trying to be fun. It's like, no. The same thing they use on Native Americans, the same thing they use on Blacks, they're going to use the same thing against women and like, LGBTQ people.
I think also the current time period we're in, seeing like Trump and MAGA and some of the extreme right stuff that's happening. It's honestly a playbook that's been gone to a few times before in American history. So I think it kind of like helps you to be like, this is how we navigate it. And, you know, like Joe Biden gave a speech the other night where he was like, these MAGA motherfuckers trying to take over the country. Fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene, fuck Lauren Boebert, you know, whatever. And, you know,
I wish that was really what he said, because they're acting like that's what he said, you know?
And there were a lot of people who were like,
I know. After they've been, for how long have they been calling the left communists and groomers and all these awful pedophiles and all these awful things? And then we call them for what they really are, which is fascist.
So we had a theory about that. We were talking the other day, and we think like this is Biden. We think, I don't know if this is right, but we feel like that he's given a one last chance for regular Republicans to jump off that train before the shit.
I think
hits the fan.
you know, he gets those daily press briefings,
so
and I think
he knows what's going to happen.
He's got to be in on this whole classified documents thing, because I think it's looking like Trump maybe he sold some of those, and
they got empty boxes.
They can't just arrest this guy without getting everybody prepared for what's going to happen.
I think that speech kind of was a way to prepare the public for
or maybe even just to test the waters. Like, let's see who gets crazy. Let's see who you know.
My man, I love Joe Biden. I know that's controversial to say these days,
but he's done a lot.
Listen, and he's on like a winning streak over the last couple of months too, which I was like, we really need this right before going into the off-season elections. So that's dope. But like, and like one of the reasons I voted for him was because like he's a straight old white dude, and I'm like, use that privilege for good, you know, like use that privilege to say the stuff that like Barack Obama couldn't say, you know, like the stuff that like if Hillary Clinton was elected, she wouldn't be allowed to say because everybody would act crazy. Use it, like lean into it. Be like, I called him MAGA. What the fuck y'all gonna say? You know, like, I love that shit. But also, my man, the real MVP now.
Real MVP,
Merrick Garland. Okay, this man is on a mission. Okay,
he coming off the bench and he was like, y'all know what? Y'all put me in the game. Let's go.
I know he did.
They're raiding a former president's property. It's some unprecedented shit, and like, and he doesn't do it by cutting like a wrestling promo or any. He's like very calm and like
very quiet.
Listen, this is the only time I'm gonna get hype is to say this: don't talk shit about the FBI. They doing their job. Leave them alone. Anything else, y'all go ahead and talk shit about me. I'm gonna keep doing my job. And I'm like, I love this guy because he's not doing like. I think it's really easy to
Monday. What do they call it? Monday morning quarterback or whatever they call it.
Yes, and the only defense that Trump really has is this idea of like they're just after me because I'm a Republican or whatever. Right. And I think you need someone in charge who's like, we will never talk about that part. Like Merrick Garland's never going to be like these MAGA Republicans. Let's get them. He's just like, listen.
I'm doing my job, and wherever the evidence leads me, that's what I'm going to.
Y'all try to take over the country, and anybody try to take over the country, we got to.
It seems like he's doing it meticulously because I think a lot of us, myself included, are getting impatient. We're just like,
well, but he's got he's got close to 100% conviction rate.
Oh, yes. So because he's probably so meticulous, so he let him do his thing.
He did Oklahoma City and stuff, so he's big.
Like this, I remember seeing a podcast interview where is an interview where they took clips from something else, but it was on the podcast. But they were talking about him going way back to like the Oklahoma City bombing. And his disdain for white supremacists, I was like,
it's strong.
This was like a couple years ago. I was like, yes, that's the guy. Like, give him the job because he really seems to be very upset about this in a way that I'm upset by it.
Yes, it's like for once somebody has that same passion and that same fire and that same. We are not going to put up with this.
He went and got like Breonna Taylor's, the cops that killed Breonna Taylor.
Yes,
years after everyone had moved on and like. I guess we're just not gonna get justice, and that's sad.
I couldn't believe that.
Right?
That was awesome.
He was somewhere like, we are gonna get justice.
Yeah.
It's not sad. Party on, everybody. And I was like, oh my God.
Yes.
The thing that I absolutely positively love about him and his staff, because like I tell everybody, I say, I am like this. And I understand people getting patient, but if you're gonna do it right, because you fuck around and speed up, you're gonna slip and fall, and then nothing's going to matter.
If I was in charge of the DOJ, I 100% would have fucked this up. I'm not.
Oh my God,
me too. I would have just heard.
Well, that's the thing. It has to be seamless. They because Trump is such a slippery motherfucker. It has to be.
He's such a
seamless.
dumbass. Like how has this dumbass got away for life?
I know.
That's
like,
how you know there's such an imbalance in money. I mean, he didn't have any money. It's just crazy. How
the one thing Trump realized that was like, if you lie in the open, our gentleman agreement government is just not ready for it.
Like they don't call it out.
That's it.
It's one thing to be like, oh, we caught this guy trying to cover something up, which is eventually how they end up getting him. But like a lot of his stuff, he's like, I don't gotta cover up. I am fucked up, and I'm telling you to your face, America, I'm gonna do something fucked up. And everybody's like, well, it's not illegal to say that. It's like, what?
I know.
Well, then somebody will follow him because he tells it like it is. He tells me he's gonna fuck me. You know, like
exactly.
You like that better.
Yes, and those are the things that make me mad. And the thing about it, and this might not be true, but this is the way I'm thinking when it comes to Merrick Garland. I think that he took it personally. He was like Michael Jordan, looking at that Apple screen. Whenever they said you can't go to the Supreme Court, he looked at him, he was like, oh, I take this personally. So since y'all did, because you know what, I would have been on the bench somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
But since I'm not on the bench, I ain't got nothing but time on my hands. And and the thing for me that I really love about this, and I will forever say this, Biden chose a black woman. That black woman said, no, I don't want the job.
Yeah, so he chose a black woman to be head of the DOJ. She declined the job so that she could be like the lead on these investigations.
So she could do the grunt work.
And that's how Merrick Garland ended up getting the job. But I remember watching that. Right. I watched that introductory press conference from Merrick Garland, and they introduced her first, and she was like, yeah, I turned it down because like basically I'm gonna be on their ass. And I don't got time for any of this Merrick Garland press conference shit. I'm gonna just be trying to get these people, and I love it, you know. So it's that's one of the reasons. Like I said, I love your podcast because it is at a time where I feel like a lot of people are trying to erase history. And I think it's super important to be reminded of history. And I'm not a person that like hates my country or anything. I really mean it in a way of like, I think this is what America can be. I think America becomes a democracy after the civil rights movement.
Right.
When we have, you know, that's the ideals we can achieve together. And
Yeah.
I think part of that means we have to, like, you know, be honest about the past. And I love that y'all are doing that.
Yes, I do too. I think those things make a big difference because so many people learn so many things from you. Even some people reach out and tell you, and some people don't. But for the fact that they have that knowledge makes them a better person. Because like, I can't speak for anybody else, but for a long time, I thought I was a bad black because I didn't know everything black about black history. I was like, am I a bad person? Am I a bad American? And then I sat down and I thought about it. I was like, oh, the school system failed me. You know, because sometimes I compare myself to Roger, but Roger came from a different household. His parents emphasize you're going to learn this. And so if you have a household that says, no, you don't have an option not to know. You're going to learn this, you're going to read it. And I think people that are raised in those households that are go, you're going to learn this, they take that shit for granted and they assume that everybody else's household is fed like that, and they're not.
Right. That's it. That's it.
Right. Well,
yeah.
We're having a good time and everything, and I feel like we got a little serious here at the end. I'm sorry, but
yeah.
I think to lighten it up, we should do a segment that we like to call White People News.
Yay!
Okay.
Right.
In White People News, we talk about things that, you know, white people are doing, and it's normally a calming situation.
Yes.
I'll play the theme song.
White people news, we're bringing egg salad to the barbecue. We might be problematic or little issues that serve really hard on our special big minutes. White people news.
Let's lighten up everything and let's talk about what white people are doing. All right. It's a lot of good stuff.
Okay.
Number one, there's a man with an emotional support animal that is an alligator.
No. Really?
And they sleep in the same bed.
No.
Right?
What?
Imagine
White
this
people
being
are
next to you on the
crazy.
plane.
Oh my God.
Oh no!
Yeah. He's got a leash for it and everything.
How is that possible? Wasn't it going to eat his face or
It's
something?
going to eat his dick is what it's going to do.
Oh my goodness.
That's how that one ends. That guy wakes up dickless. He wanted a freezer dick.
Oh my God.
Joseph Henney's emotional.
He gonna wake up, the alligator gonna be gone, and his neighbor gonna have some Crocs, an alligator belt.
Yeah.
Joseph Henney's emotional support animal, Wally Gator, goes with.
Wally?
Do alligators respond to their name?
I don't think so.
Do they?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
Like
do they have
Wally,
ears?
come
I
here,
don't-
Wally. You know what I'm
What
talking
do you
about?
feed it?
Those are dinosaurs, right? They're
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
they look like dinosaurs.
Wally Gator is an alligator. They hug each other and they sleep in the same bed. When he turns his nose towards you, that means he expects a kiss, says Henney, 69 years old. He goes by the name Joe, Joie, pronounced Joe, and he lives in Jonestown, Pennsylvania, about 2 hours from Philadelphia. He's super sweet natured.
They'll find you dead one day, sir.
They watch television together on the couch, and
What do they watch? Animal Planet? The fuck?
I feel like any show with humans is just Wally Gator watching it the way I watch like a Buffalo Wild Wings commercial.
Yep. Yep.
Like I do a McDonald's commercial.
Like, this is a great ad for food.
Now, is he allergic to dogs? Is that the reason he didn't just get a dog like a normal human being? That's what
I
wanna
mean,
know.
he's allergic to dogs. The alligator is hungry for dogs. It's, it works out. He said, Wally is definitely not your average crocodilian. Okay. Crocodilian? Apparently that's a word that I didn't know. The 7 foot, 7-year-old, 5.5 feet long.
Oh my
Man, that
God.
thing the same height.
The gator has his own TikTok and Instagram. He's a very special gator, but I wouldn't recommend that anyone get one. If you don't know what you're doing, you will get bit. Sir, you're gonna get bit, and you
Yeah, no kidding. That's gonna end like Siegfried and Roy kind of ended.
Yes.
Remember them?
Yeah, they both got killed by their animals.
I
didn't
think
they?
the one did. I don't think
One did. One got really fucked up by a tiger. It's like,
Yep.
of course, it's a
they're
tiger.
wild animals.
Yeah. There's a reason people were paying for these tickets, and let me tell you, the reason was tonight, dog. It wasn't for
That's
the
right. It's like the Roman Coliseum over here.
Exactly. It was because they like to see us do tricks with a chair. No. It was because they want to see someone get maimed.
Yeah.
But yeah, alligators are legal to own in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
What? Why?
Seriously.
He says he rescues reptiles in his home in a separate indoor enclosure that he purchased for this purpose. He then finds sanctuaries or zoos that will take them. And he normally is called to rescue alligators when people take in cute baby gators as pets, but then they inevitably turn into a large animal that can be too difficult to handle.
No shit. What you think it was going to turn into?
I know, right?
It was going to stay small and cute forever?
Right. And they said they are, after all, an animal that has not changed since the time of dinosaurs.
That's
There we
right.
go, yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to Joe.
Hello.
Yeah, I had a buddy in high school that got a baby alligator.
What?
Yeah.
You never told me
He
that.
kept it in a bathtub.
What?
Yeah, he kept it in his bathtub. Yeah.
In Northwood, Ohio. That's
Yeah,
what.
Did he just
happens
flush
there.
it down the toilet or something one day?
I
And
don't
that
know.
was-
I don't know whatever happened to that guy or that alligator.
That
I think
gator?
he's a lawyer now in Texas.
Oh wow.
But I don't know
Okay.
whatever happened to that gator. Like I remember everybody.
Maybe
thought
it's
he
a
was crazy.
partner at the law firm.
Yeah, really.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's like Jackson, Gator, and Gator.
Oh, no.
You been in a wreck? We got me and this Gator in a suit.
Conversations, we got you covered.
In other white people news, Ozzy Osbourne
Yes.
said he is moving back to the UK. He is fed up with America.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Say you
blame
don't
him.
want to die in crazy ass America.
Does he say what?
And that's-
What was the last
for Ozzy
straw?
Osbourne to say something is crazy ass?
Yeah.
Right?
Really says something about that thing. You know what I mean?
Especially that guy where he
Yeah.
is now.
I mean,
he
he
was
is-
always crazy, but
Crazy son of a bitch.
and now he's 100.
Right.
You know,
He
all
bit the
kinds of-
head off a bird on stage.
Mhm.
He's
you
got
know?
fried brain. I mean,
Yeah. And he was like, you know what? This is wild. I can't
Yep.
live here.
so I wonder what it was. Was it the healthcare? Was it the guns? Was it?
It was the
MAGA.
guns.
It was-
He
it was
said it
guns.
was
Was it
'cause of
guns?
It was
Yeah.
because of the school shootings. He said,
Yeah.
he said everything's fucking ridiculous. And, and decided to leave America.
I love it. Well,
He
it
said,
is. It's like we've got an 18-year-old can buy an AR-15. What the fuck for? If not to go
Right.
kill a bunch of people.
It's called an assault rifle for a reason.
Right.
It's
He's
for
just hunting
assaulting
deer.
people.
You know, you never
Seriously.
hunted a deer that had like a RPG or something, or
I
like
know, right?
Until the animals start shooting back, I don't understand.
yeah, the deer has
just
like
don't.
camouflage on. I don't get it.
Well,
Any
now
other
Um,
product that America would sell would have at least a 21 age limit on it by now after all of
Yes.
these mishaps, if you want to call them that.
You can't even rent a car at that
Right.
age.
You can't get a
Yeah.
hotel at that age, can you?
Most hotels, no.
Nope.
Sleazy hotels, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rod knows that
Ozzy-
from personal experience.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey.
Karen does too.
Yeah.
I'm fed up.
Because we used to do that together.
Yeah.
I was like, you're too young.
I'm fed up with people getting killed every day. God knows how many people have been shot in school shootings. And there was that mass shooting in Vegas at that concert. It's fucking crazy, he
Yeah.
said. And I
Mhm.
guess he's hopping on the first thing smoking to get out of here.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
So yeah. Shout out to Ozzy Osbourne. We ran him off, guys. That's how many
Yeah.
school shootings we had.
Oh
He's
my
trying to
god.
reach this limit.
We literally sent that man back to his country. All
Now,
right.
can we get rid of Kid Rock next?
Yeah,
Come
he's
on,
from here,
please.
unfortunately.
For the love of God. Okay.
Yeah.
Although, how much money would you pay if you found out Kid Rock was just from like London?
Yeah.
No.
Did you
Like,
see
all
what
this
he?
is-
Did you see what Kid Rock said lately? He said,
No.
he said he was with Trump one time, and Trump started showing him all these confidential maps and classified things, and Kid
I
Rock was
believe
like,
that.
"Am I supposed to be looking at this?" Like he said, "I was thinking, am I supposed to be looking at this?"
I believe that.
Why would
They-
he tell us that? I thought
Stupid.
Trump was his man. Like
He
it,
I
gonna
don't
come
know.
around and Mayor Garland them gonna be knocking on his door. You
Right.
see some paperwork, sir?
they don't
That's
even know. How to
right.
do, they don't even know how to do crime the right way.
That's the craziest thing. Is like, he didn't steal these to sell them. He stole them to show to Kid Rock.
And he probably showed them to everybody at that
He
fucking
probably showed
hotel.
Vince
They were
McMahon
saying,
and all those other
that he would
stupid
do that
buddies.
periodically. People would walk in his office and he'd be like, "Did you see this?" And I'm
Right.
like, "Sir,
You won't
can't do
believe it.
that."
The most beautiful documents. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I don't want to see this shit.
I might be
People
doing
are
it.
saying
Yes.
Yes.
People are
Best
saying some of the
secrets.
most classified documents
Got
of
more
all time.
secrets than anybody.
Yeah.
oh my god. Yep.
Sharon Stone.
Okay.
Oh boy.
No boy. She's
She
still around.
reveals that her It's white people news, guys. Everybody relax.
Oh, yeah.
This is good news.
Yeah.
Nothing stressful.
Yeah, this is the
No,
least stressful
right?
part. Sharon Stone reveals that her past relationship ended after she refused to get Botox.
Good for her. If she don't
Yeah,
want it,
I
go
like
get
that.
it.
Yeah, and the
I
whole
wanna know-
relationship ended. That's pretty bad.
Who was the guy who thought? First of all, Sharon Stone's one of the most attractive people in Hollywood. Maybe because she hasn't had that much work. I don't know, but she's,
Right.
she's one of those people we go, wow, she's aged great. Like, what amazing.
Yeah.
There was some person in Hollywood going, need a little Botox, need a little tightening up, Sharon. I don't think I'm gonna be able to hang out with you anymore.
And she's a woman. I call this a woman of a certain age. It was like, bitch, I'm not gonna change. You go.
That's right.
Because once women get to a certain age, they was like, you gonna have to deal with the fat and the rolls. What I'm not gonna
That's
do.
right.
Yeah.
Whatever you supplying, I can go buy at the store. You better go on about your business.
She's had a,
Well, otherwise they end up looking like Madonna. Have you seen her lately?
Yeah.
She
Jesus.
looks crazy.
it's weird in Hollywood because like I'm sure there's an in-between period that I just don't recognize in my own brain, but it's like everyone's either like no work or way too much work. There's like
Right.
wherever that in-between segment is where you're like, oh, they just, they had a little work done, but they look great. It's like you never see that. You just only see the like, oh God, dial it back 5 surgeries,
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, so she said that she was dating a younger man, and the topic of getting cosmetic treatment came up, and her boyfriend at the time asked her if she used Botox. She said he said it would probably be really good for your ego and mine if I did. That's what she said to him. And he said, I saw him one more time after that, and he wasn't interested in seeing me anymore. She continued, if you don't see me more for more than that, you'll please find your way to the exit.
Yeah.
Well, good for her.
Get the fuck out.
A young
Good
dude was
for
dating.
her.
She was messing with a young dude, and he was still like, I don't think so. That's crazy.
Was that Sharon Stone you were just showing?
Yeah, that was her.
Oh, that's fine.
Right? Like
Yeah.
Sharon Stone is epitome of like white women that just mind their business and age well.
She don't bother
Mhm.
nobody.
She don't never have nothing controversial to say. She don't never hop in nobody's like social media beef or whatever. She's just like, I'm just doing work. I look great, and I'm just not
Sitting
gonna
back,
do anything with
uncrossing her legs and crossing her legs.
Boom.
Just
You
living
know?
like that.
Yeah.
that. She's like, I've been a smoke show for 25 years. I'm gonna just keep this thing going.
Yeah. Good
What's
for
the
her.
point?
Yeah.
Speaking of how people feel about their bodies, Jonah Hill, he said he is not gonna promote his new movies.
Yes, not
because of
promoting
his mental
anymore.
health. And he said that the press tours exacerbate anxiety attacks.
I can
Really?
see that. And he's somebody that has challenge with his weight,
Yeah, I
because
heard
when he
this
came
one,
in, he was
yeah.
heavier. And all of a sudden, he lost all of this weight.
All that weight. Yeah.
Well, and then
Yes.
you wonder how many times people are like, we hired you to be a fat guy, so put that weight back
Right,
on.
yeah.
For comedy. That's
And
probably the
constantly
thing you
having
have to
like
do.
commentary on your body like that, oh, he lost some
Yeah.
weight.
All the
He gained
questions
some
are
weight.
probably, they're probably just
Right.
always asking them, what's it like to lose all that weight? Oh, how do you
Yeah.
lose the weight? What do you eat? That's got to be.
Every red
Old.
carpet, somebody
He
saying
was like,
some
I'll do
shit.
the movie, but what I'm not going to do is the press tours. Y'all, either you're going to see the movie or you ain't.
Also,
I am.
though, like, shout out to him because this is like my dream as an introvert is putting out
Yeah.
a statement like, I'm just not doing that shit no more. And
Yeah.
if you hire me to do your movie, just understand that you gotta do this part by yourself.
It sounds
Yeah.
appealing to
Like,
me.
what about the interview tour? Y'all got that, right? I did
Yeah.
my job. I showed up. I filmed it. I did a good job. I think you guys can do the interviews,
Yeah, he's a vet in the game. He's been doing this for a long ass time. It's like basically I sell myself.
Mhm.
Y'all actually do your job, which is to push and promote the movie, and the other people will probably go out on these tours and let him deal with it, because like you said, it's fucking with him mentally. So not trying to find it. And who knows what kind of questions they ask him that they don't actually publicize, and put out. So who knows what kind of invasive, insulting questions they ask this man. Well, he's I've had enough.
Shout out to him getting old enough and having enough money to be able to pull this move.
Yes,
that's true. That's a good point. You can't. Not everybody can just do that.
Yeah. If he had tried this shit at super bad, his career would have been over.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's true.
He made it, dog. Shout out to you. The last one, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck had a 3-day wedding.
Whoa!
Wait a minute, they got married again?
Yeah.
So
did they get married? Were they married before?
They eloped to Vegas and got married, and then they did a bunch of press about how like we're just so down to earth and we're so cool that we like elope, tell anybody we got married by like Elvis or whatever. Then they got celebrity married, and they did a 3-day weekend where their celebrity friends. They went to Ben Affleck's. So people were reporting it as a plantation.
It's not,
but it's like a mock plantation. I don't even know. Like it was built in like 1990 something or whatever.
Style.
Yeah, so it's like plantation style. And I'm gonna be real, okay, guys. I'm not upset by that.
Right.
I understand everybody's supposed to be upset because it says plantation in the title, but for me, I was like, so it wasn't a real plantation. Nobody was like enslaved there. Fine. That's
if
like you're gonna do a plantation wedding, that's the best kind of plantation wedding. I guess y'all really like, I don't know, like the columns on the front of the building. I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what that is.
But you know, it's like when you say like this is dolphin safe tuna or whatever. You're like, all right, well, if you're gonna eat tuna, that's the best way to eat it. Enjoy your tuna sandwich. But
yeah, really.
So are they the original Bennifer?
Yeah,
or was Jennifer Garner and him Bennifer?
Oh no, they're the original.
They're the original one.
They're the original.
He just likes the name Jennifer.
Yeah,
apparently. Yeah.
But I thought she was married to A-Rod. Wasn't she married to A-Rod?
She was dating him for a while, but then A-Rod turned out to be a filthy, dirty dog and was cheating.
He did?
On her.
He was? He was cheating on Jennifer Lopez?
A couple of times.
Man, I didn't pay attention to any of this.
Yeah. This is what happens, man.
I'll never forget Jennifer Lopez and Money Train.
Come on, man. J-Lo go way back. I remember her from
I think in Living Color.
In Living Color.
Yes, she was a dancer on Living Color. I remember her.
Oh, sound like they got engaged, but they never got married.
A-Rod. Yeah, they never got married. He got caught cheating. And
A-Rod cheated on J-Lo. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and like cheating in 2020 when you're famous, like everyone got a phone. Everyone like it's actually more lucrative for the person to be like, I was cheating with A-Rod.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's crazy because you're famous. Yeah, you're everywhere you go, you're on a camera.
So I don't know what he was thinking. But yeah, they got married. They celebrated their nuptials for a whole weekend party.
So they weren't. These two weren't married the first time. They were just dating before.
The first time they go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm about to say because the first time I think they called off the wedding like a day before the day of. So like they got all the way up to like the wedding, and just completely called it off.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yep, that was an American Timeline episode, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys think all these marriages are just arranged like by publicists?
So here's my belief, right? You're talking about people that make a lot of money, who typically are very attractive. I think it's easy to fall in love when you're in Hollywood. And I don't think it takes that much.
Set with this person for
almost every time. Almost every time,
super hot, you're super hot,
right?
Like Zendaya and the dude that plays Spider-Man are in love.
They're together, right? They're together still, or they? My daughter.
Why wouldn't you be in love if you were either one of these very attractive people at the peak of your life and career?
Who are you gonna do better with?
Right.
Yeah.
You're making a shit ton of money, and you're basically at summer stock all the time.
Right.
And you can't be with somebody. You can't just meet somebody on Craigslist or wherever.
You can't just be walking in Whole Foods and be like, I'm gonna throw my whole life away with this person. It's
I got all this money and you don't. So at least we both have money. So we.
Because honestly, I'd be in love with fucking that kid from Spider-Man with as much money he's making now.
With all that money, yes.
Yeah. Right. And anybody was, and I remember it was hilarious because they said like the person, I forgot who the lady is, but I think there was like, it's a lady who has worked on like every Spider-Man. And she told them, she was like, y'all don't date each other. She said, because every Spider-Man has dated the person.
The co-star.
Yeah, the co-star.
Oh,
She was like,
Wait, is that right?
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, she was, and they eventually broke up, but for all 3 Spider-Mans, every single one of them have dated their co-star.
But why
Wow.
wouldn't you?
That's true.
Yeah.
Y'all are both in like the top 1% of fine people on the planet, and y'all
Agreed.
got money.
That's
It's
like
just
the
like-
Superman thing. Every Superman dies
Yeah.
tragically or something. Except
Yeah.
Dean Cain, just his career died. But,
Yeah, their careers died. I think
Yeah.
it's really more the roles' fault. It's like these movies
Yeah.
suck, and then the people want
Right.
to. So it's really a curse of Warner Brothers or something.
Yep.
yeah.
All right, that's it for me, man. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
Oh, thank you guys
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you guys for having
It
us.
was
This
so
a
much
blast.
fun. You're welcome back
It
anytime.
was.
If you ever
Yes,
need to
and you'll have to
promote
come back
something-
on our show too.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
gotta get
we
back
were on
on
the
it.
episode.
Yeah.
We had so much
Yeah.
fun. I
Good.
told you I'm a fan. I like went up and researched like articles and stuff so I could like know what was
Yeah.
gonna happen. It was such a
Yeah.
good time.
And
This is
tell
a lot of
everybody
work,
how
man.
to find y'all on social media and platforms and all that stuff.
So yeah, Twitter at History for Jerks, and History for Jerks is now 3 different programs. We have American Timelines, the Nerd School podcast, which I do. I'm learning about the MCU from some nerds that I work with, and then the Gruff and Loud Show on YouTube, which is basically that's my thing. Since Amy will only talk a little bit about random pop culture, I talked with my buddy Gruff on the Gruff and Loud Show about these. He'll talk about anything, and they're just little stupid 10-minute episodes. But at History for Jerks on Twitter and Instagram, you can listen to us anywhere you get podcasts. American Timelines is
right.
on, everywhere, Spotify and Apple and everything. I think.
Yeah, check them out,
YouTube.
guys.
Yeah.
I listen. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I love the show, and also just Joe, you were great to work with at Blumenthal Center for Performing
Yes.
Arts. You made
Yeah, we
it
got to
so-
bring you back. By the way, we got to come back and do another live show.
Yeah, we got to.
We'll be back because we were debating this year. We was like,
Yeah.
too loud.
It's
We're a
still
little
weird with
scared.
COVID, but we're getting through
Yeah.
it. So let's talk. Let's get you back on stage because that was a blast. You guys are
Yeah,
Yes.
it
fun to
was such a
be
good
around.
time.
You guys are just everybody enjoyed you guys too. All of our staff, because our staff don't say that about everybody. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, thank God they're gone. But with you guys, like they were just so nice to be around
Oh,
and work with.
that was
So
nice.
everybody loves you. So you guys are always
Yeah,
welcome.
y'all do such a great job there, and it was great working with you. And we look forward to working with you in the future.
For sure.
And like I said, check out the podcast. I can't recommend it highly enough. It's such a great show.
Mhm.
I'm sure you'll binge it like I did.
Yes.
And
Oh, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having
Yeah.
us, and thanks everybody. All these chats are awesome. I can't wait to. I hope you can. Can I like read these after the fact?
yeah,
Yes, you can.
So
'Cause I
you can go
can't
to
see
this
the screen
link-
from here. So
You can go to this link afterwards, and you can read
Click
what
the
everybody
link.
had to
You can go
say.
through the
oh, good. Yeah.
And check out
Awesome.
the replay, and then
Yeah.
later people can catch us on YouTube. and
YouTube. We
stuff.
put it on YouTube.
So
Oh,
that's
cool.
it for us.
great.
Awesome.
Yeah, sweet.
We'll be back
Awesome.
throughout the week. We still have stuff to cover. Wednesday we'll be doing our Game of Thrones recap.
Yay.
Oh.
And until then, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.